this is Angie with the New Normal Society. Welcome back to A Class of Your Own. I thought this quote by Yogi Berra was perfect for talking about lesson planning in your homeschool program. He famously said, if you don't know where you're going, you might not get there. I've mentioned previously that at different points in my son's school years, they were homeschooled at least for part of the time. For my oldest, he was only homeschooled for a year, whereas for my youngest twin, he was homeschooled for a year in middle school and then all of his high school years except for one until he graduated with a homeschool diploma at the age of 22. Over that period of about 10 years, my lesson planning has evolved pretty dramatically. At first, I structured the lesson plan a lot like a typical school day and just listed out the activities that my kids did every day from whatever workbooks they were working in or whatever tasks they needed to do. As I've mentioned earlier, they would finish the day pretty early. I did have to customize my lesson plans because each of my sons were at different levels and learning different things. For my oldest son and also my middle twin, I used prepackaged curricula when they were in middle school, and that meant that the lesson planning had already been done for me. So the extent of my schedule making at that time was just turning to the next page in their workbook and writing it down each day of the week so that they would know what they needed to do next. I can understand why these prepackaged curricula are popular and why people may want to use them because pretty much everything has been done for you. But as I've said, I'm not a huge fan because they tend to be very linear. They're kind of a set of instructions and a set of tasks that you go through every day. They don't really leave a lot of room for exploration or teaching. For lack of a better word, they can be boring. In between my youngest twins' homeschooling years, I went back to school and earned a degree in special education. I was in my early 40s, and that really changed my worldview on lesson planning. In my degree program, we were graded on our lesson plans. The purpose of this one 5-page lesson plan called B is for Bellies is helping teach students about letter reversals, or writing and reading the letter B as the letter D. One lesson plan includes things like state standards, learning objectives, materials needed, setting, and instructional strategies, among many other things. Needless to say, I gained a whole new appreciation for teachers who put thought and care into their lesson plans. And I can tell you from experience, there's nothing more terrifying than standing in front of a group of students and not having a plan and not knowing what you're going to do. There are a lot of products for homeschool that you can purchase that include lesson plans. We used an awesome culinary curriculum for my youngest twin, and it included lesson plans, and I'll talk about that in a future video. You can also go on websites like teacherspayteachers.com, and you can find literally thousands of lesson plans on any subject that you can imagine. The problem, again, is when you go on websites like that or you start looking for materials, it can get overwhelming really quickly. Many of these products and lesson plans that you will find that are already prepared are for students who can participate in a standard curriculum. They're not really adapted or designed for students with special needs. So this gives you a great opportunity as a teaching parent to customize your lesson plans to your learner. Here are some good things to think about for lesson plans. Number 1, what is the purpose of this lesson? Why are we doing this? Examples could include things like improving reading comprehension, learning kitchen safety, or working on skills of independent living. Next, how long will it take? This is vital for your schedule and also for your life and responsibilities outside of homeschool. Your lessons should be long enough to learn the material and accomplish the purpose, but short enough to maintain interest and attention to task. What materials do we need? You don't want to get started only to have to run all over the place, taking up precious time and motivation to find stuff that you didn't realize you were going to need. And finally, what's the best way to teach this? For some academic concepts, I've used the I do, we do together, you do independently strategy. For some activities like building Lego creations, my son works independently. In the kitchen, we work together and are learning at the same time. I've always tried to mix up the types of work between independent work and kind of worksheet-based work, experiential and project-based learning, and then work that I do with my kids together. I can tell you, at least in my son's case, no one wants to sit at a table doing worksheets for 3 hours. Your lesson plans for homeschool don't have to be complicated, but you should start each day and each week with an idea of what your student will be working on and what they will be learning. Otherwise, you can get kind of stressed out and end up losing valuable time. In our next video, I'm going to share with you what we did for my youngest twins' homeschool program, some of the different curricula that we worked on. In our home state, school started back in session in person this week, and I know a lot of parents are kind of scrambling and not sure what they might teach their kids with special needs, and I hope that our experience will give you some ideas and get you off to a quick start. I look forward to seeing you.